got this 26-year-old ES-165 that's in. We're going to install Lawler Charlie Christian pickup and do 2 finish repairs. I'll move the strap button to a lower spot down here on the heel, and we'll look inside, and most importantly, I'm going to pull all the guts out of it and put them all out on the bench so you can have a look, and we'll rewire it and look inside. Because I think there might be a loose brace or something, so we've got a sympathetic buzz whenever we play a B note. It's kind of rattling. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, this is Herb Ellis model. He was a jazz guitar player, swing, back in the 50s. He was really popular, I guess. And he's a whole Herb's Getting Dusty. Here's the other finish repair that we're going to need to do. The first one was over there where I'm moving the strap button. That's going to need to be looked at, but this one happened when he slid the bridge forward for better intonation. And there might be something going on with the top because the foot doesn't fit the arch very well. And I'm thinking the brace came loose over on this side or something. Let's look. Does it appear to you like the top is kind of like scooped in? Like it's a little concave? I don't know. He definitely said that this pickup mounting ring is in there backwards. You know, the skinnier side should be forward. I agree. Seeing if you can hear that buzz. We'll do a before and after of the sound of the pickup too. I got it to go away for now, and I got it by pushing on this saddle. Is one of these saddles. It must start there. It's this A saddle. I'll go in there and drop some blue Loctite in and around the threads and stuff to see if we can get it to stop. My God. Why is the E forward further than the A? It doesn't seem to mess up the intonation. This'll come back unless I put that Loctite on there. So intonation check shows this E string being about 6 cents sharp, and the B as well, about 5 cents sharp. But these two need to come back. Okay, besides writing down all parameters of what I found, when I took the bridge off the body, I found that the post was down here below the wood, and it's very sharp, and that's what scratched up the body. So I'll want to fix that by just setting this in with epoxy or something. This is the base side, that's why it's your B. Yeah, even if he would have lifted it up, it still would have made this damage here. The damage was probably already done before he moved it. This is the finish repair. Alright, I just happen to have this tool. It's a 6/32 type of wrench. It comes with a metric fitting too, of course, from Stu Mac. And I was able to tighten that right up against there and back it out. And now I'm going to file that smooth and reset it back in there with a little bit of epoxy. I use this graver tool to try to dig out any discolored or dark stains on that real light colored maple wood. A graver tool is something that like a jeweler would use to engrave someone's name on the back of a watch or bracelet or something like that. I made this from an old file. Now I'm going to apply some epoxy putty that I stained with some lemon yellow tint or dye or stain, some kind of trans tint lemon yellow. I apply a little bit of simple green to my tool so that the putty doesn't stick to the tool, and I'm able to smudge and smooth it over with the tool. Little palette knives. Simple green is just soapy water. It's like a detergent. That's what I use. Then I clean the area. Before it cures, I clean it with the Q-tip. Well, this is what I'm left with. I'm going to take a bamboo skewer. Skewer? Yeah, skewer. Cut it to length and countersink it down into that hole, and then I'll put a little epoxy putty over on the surface after it cures. Get the tight bond glue. Way more than I need, so it squeezes out all over. I also use the graver tool to create flutes in the dowel. I chuck it up into the drill, and then I turn it a couple times so that I get about 4 or 5 flutes in each dowel. It just helps it to permanently stick in there. I don't know why I did it in this case, because the strap button is not going back into this hole. So that was an unnecessary step, but a trade secret that you might find useful in other applications. Say if you had a stripped out strap button hole. Now I'll seat the dowel or the skewer into the hole and wipe off the excess glue. Now I've taken the knobs off of the pots and taken the nut off of the jack and removed the tailpiece so that the ground wire can pull right on through. I'm going to place all that stuff on the bench and swap out that pickup. They just love to take the ground wire, wrap it around the braided ground of the pickup at the factory, and this is really difficult to remove. After struggling and fighting with it for over 3 or 4 minutes, I decided to just cut the damn thing off. Because we don't need that much ground wire anyways. And this pickup might never get used again. It might go into a drawer forever. He'll keep it with the guitar, though, as the original equipment. Now I desolder the ground wire from the back of the pot and say bye-bye to Mr. Humbucker. Next, I'll prepare the new braided ground wire to be soldered to the back of the pot. First, I put a little bit of fresh solder on it. Then, while holding it down against the pot, I flow a little bit of new solder and push down, and voila! Charlie Christian pickup is installed into the circuit, keeping the original 500k ohm pots. This pickup had about 3 inches of excess wire that I will just tie up into a loop so that it doesn't jiggle around inside the hollow body. Here's the new ground wire. I mean the old ground wire. I'll do the same little trick that they did at the factory, but I'll just do 2 little twists. And they must have put like 10 twists around that original one. It really drove me nuts. Now, I'm thinking about the ground wire. I solder a guitar string to the ground wire. This is me testing the pickup. I've plugged it in to the amp, and I've got my one string dulcimer here. And it looks like the volume works. We'll check the tone. Tone works. But it's a bit scratchy, so I can clean. It's a good thing I plug it in to check it ahead of time, because it reminds me to clean the pots while they're out on the bench with the electronics cleaner. Good sounding pickup. I'm going to put this guitar string through the hole where the ground wire will go. I'm going to pull it through the pickup hole where everything's going to go through and solder the two ends together. The ground wire and the guitar string will get soldered together end to end. Okay, so the ground wire is all set. Now I need to start pulling the jack through, and for that I'll use this. Stick it through and stick the jack onto the end of it, and then pull everything through. Oh! Dropped something in there. The magnet picked up some of my feeler gauges. Hold on. Fishing. Alright. Now, I can pull the pots up with some hemostats. I forgot to say the nut and the washer go onto this tool first before anything goes in. That way you can screw it onto the jack. Then, this tool, I got this from StewMac, but you could just bend a coat hanger or something into this shape and go in there and grab the pot. Now I can desolder the guitar string from the ground wire and put the tailpiece back on. And we'll tighten up our nuts. This tool, jam it in there. It's got that little rubber bit, and you can hold the jack from rotating while you tighten the nut. It's very nice. Very nice indeed. Now I'm going to apply the epoxy putty. This time I tinted the putty with red mahogany trans tint, or was it color tone red mahogany? It wasn't even in the neighborhood. Maybe next time I'll try the Kalamazoo brown. I'd like to get into the ballpark a little closer to that. The color that's on the neck there, that medium brown color. Or wait, maybe I'll use medium brown next time. Yeah, medium. So, I never used epoxy putty before. I think Ian Davlin was the first person I ever saw using epoxy putty on guitars, and that was on that StewMac video from 4 years ago. So what he showed us was to take some sandpaper. I took 220 grit right here and just sanded with the tip of this point here in this area until I got it where it kind of feels like that it's like I made a little dent, like a little crater right here, like it's scooped out slightly down in here now. There's 220 grit scratches all over there. So I've really dulled this area, and I need to add a little color. It looks like I need to add amber to it, and once I get the right shade of amber, I'll fill in a clear sort of finish over the top of it. Before I do the amber, I'm going to take a teeny bit of the Glue Boost fill-in finish and just wipe it over here. And the reason I did that is because I don't want to permanently stain that putty an amber color and have it be the wrong color. I want to be able to wipe that amber off this fill-in finish if it's all wrong and I want to get rid of it. I want to be able to get it off there without, you know, digging out this epoxy. I accelerate once, twice, 3 times a Glue Boost, and then I accelerate the paper towel and press it right down onto it, just to make sure it's hardened completely. Now I should be able to lay this shellac right over the top of this, wipe it off if I need to. So this is shellac and this is amber, and I'm just using the side of the cup to kind of mix it. See, that's too dark, so I'll dilute it and just do little dots. I'll smudge away. Smudging is good when I'm doing this stuff. It is good to smudge. Smudging is your buddy. Sir Smudge-a-lot, they call me. So that's pretty much the deal. You know, the bridge does sit right over top of it, so it's going to be in the shadows, and depending on which way you look at it, it's going to look lighter or it's going to look darker than the surroundings. So what can you do? I'm going to take that same sandpaper with the 220 grit and just scuff up kind of a bigger area here, because we got this, they screwed that strap button down onto here with no felt in between the finish and the button, and they've dented it in huge. Look at this huge dent. Anyways, I'm gonna scratch all of this lacquer up and fill it in with the Glue Boost. Yeah, I saw Ian using that epoxy putty, and I've been a big fan ever since. I think I've always used the Mohawk Pine. I want to say I had one color, the very first color I had, it wasn't pine. I couldn't remember what it was, but it was it hardened. They only last for about a year. I should probably stand this guitar up more upright, because I don't know, gravity's gonna make it all pool up down here. I almost want it to pool up a little bit right there. Spray a little accelerator here. The new strap button's gonna go about yay. Yeah, he really didn't want it there. He wanted it here. He said they really screwed it up when they did this. He will never go back there again. Can't even see it from all the reflections, but that's our area, and that's how I'm holding it. Total Vice number 7. what I did, I took a small block and some wet sandpaper. I took this little block, it has this urethane on it, and I sanded it with 12, 1500, and 2000, and that's the gray Stumac wet sandpaper. Now this is the Trizac 3000, and this is going to take out all the 2000 scratches, 2000 grit that is, and get me ready to use the Meguiar's Ultra Cut Compound. After the Ultra Cut Compound, I'll use the Ultimate Compound and Ultimate Polish and maybe a little wax. And then I'll be ready to restring the guitar. So you can see this dull area that I've been sanding, and I resanded because I noticed some lumps after I polished. Everything looks all like it's going to polish out nice and smooth, but what happens, and what someone was asking me about, is like once you get it really polished up to a nice high shine, you'll see like there's a little circle of finish that doesn't match the surrounding, and that's because Glue Boost and lacquer take to abrasives at a different type of, they just don't, they don't shine up exactly the same. Sometimes you get lucky and it's like unnoticeable. I'm feeling like I'm getting lucky today. I mean, this Glue Boost, I don't see a witness line from my angle. I see some lumps, but again, the bridge sets right across here, and this is just the Mirror Glaze 105, and I don't know, it seems to me like this might be shiny enough, maybe not, but if I decide that there's a circle of Glue Boost in the middle and you can totally see it, what you can do is just come in and scuff it one more time with like a Scotch-Brite gray pad to scuff it up, and then brush on one coat of lacquer that's been thinned down with shellac, maybe half and half, half shellac, half lacquer. Most of the shellac solvents will just evaporate away, and you'll have to wait about a week, and then you can level sand it and polish it. This one might fly as it is. I'll hit it with a couple more compounds and decide, but yeah. Now I'm going to smooth this over with one of these Swiss files. This has a slight convex surface to one side. It fits right into the contour of the heel here. I like using the files before I use sandpaper, just to get a head start, but it really just gets me a smoother and better result. So I file it, then I'll sand it with this block. It's 400 grit sandpaper, free cut, P grade sandpaper on a foam block. I'm going to wipe that clean with some naphtha on our paper towel. In my first attempt, I used this black-brown marker. I end up getting a second try. Yep, there's a little redo action going on with this area. Didn't know it at the time, but now I do. We used a little wipe-on poly the first time. Just hanging the guitar on the wall. Every 2 hours I hit it with the gray Scotch-Brite pad and
reapply. Usually like to get about 8 coats of that stuff. But in this case, I ended up sanding it all off, so that's what happens sometimes. Now, I'll drill the pilot hole for the new strap button. Little piece of tape there prevents chip out.
All right. That's where he wants it. Having a little redo over here. I had a little bit of a sand through when I was wet sanding before I was getting ready to polish it. And anyways, I put this back on, and I'm gonna take this burr off this screw here. I don't know why there's such a sharp edge on that screw. But anyways, let's give it a listen. We'll hear what it sounds like, this Charlie Christian pickup.